Hey everybody, it's Gomedex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Kaldheim on Arena here. We've got a Crippling Fear as our rare in our opening pack, which is a pretty fantastic rare. 4 mana to choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn. This can often be a one-sided Wrath of God. You just choose whatever creature type you own the most of, and you just clear out your opponent's entire field while leaving some stuff on yours. Really solid card here, and I am happy to pick pack one that over pretty much anything else. There's some other decent cards here. I mean, Frostbite for just really cheap instant speed removal. Blizzard Brawl, solid cheap removal again. This is it's Prey Upon, so one of your creatures fights your opponent's creatures, but if you're in a dedicated snow deck, you can also get Indestructible before you fight, so you can have your 4/4 trade up into their 5/5 and survive, which is super solid. I do like this black-white land a lot as well, the Great Hall of Starnheim there. Sacrifice a creature, spend 3 mana, get a 4/4 Flying Vigilance Angel. Absolutely terrifying card, so our opponent took an uncommon here over a pretty bonkers rare, so it was probably a very good, efficient removal spell. And our opponent knows if they're passing up a Glorious Protector, that it's very likely that whoever they're passing this to is going to end up in white. So I'm pretty sure we should have white pretty open from whoever's on our right side here. So I'm happy to pick up a Glorious Protector. This is a super first pickable card. 4 mana for a 3/4 flash flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield. So it can come out and save some of your stuff from removal spells, in that it'll just put them underneath the Protector, and then when the Protector dies, that stuff comes back. But mainly this is just 4 mana for a 3/4 flash flying, or you foretell it, and then it's 3 mana for a 3/4 flash flying. Either of those are incredibly solid stats for limited, so pretty sweet card. Not like an uber bomb or anything, but it is just a really nicely costed flyer. And we get a pretty great card for a black-white deck here. Clarion Spirit, 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. This is one of those build-around cards for black-white decks. A lot of what black-white decks are trying to do in this format is cast 2 spells in 1 turn, so this is pretty perfect to go with our first 2 picks. This is starting to look like a cookie-cutter, just really easy, really perfect draft here, but we'll have to see how the picks go later. For now, it's real easy to just stay Orzhov here. We could take a Demon Bolt. Demon Bolt is a great removal spell, and Behold the Multiverse is a great draw spell, but with 2 really strong cards in black and white here, taking the card that is quite useful in a black-white strategy is just a really easy pick, and it's definitely what I want to do there. So this pack is a little less clear. There's not anything crazy good in a black-white strategy. Both Elderfang Disciple and Deathnell Berserker can be solid. 2 mana for a 2/2. When it dies, if its power was 3 or greater, you get a 2/2 zombie token, or 2 mana for a 1/1 and each opponent discards a card. Either of these cards are just solid in black-white. They both profit a lot based on having other good cards that combo with them in your deck, like Elderfang Disciple works really well with something like Village Rites, where you're sacrificing creatures for value, and Deathnell Berserker works really well with the +2/+0 pump spell that also brings back the creature that you pumped with it. So I do really feel like I want to stick to black-white. The best card outside of our colors here is really just the Icebind Pillar, which kind of wants us to be in like a dedicated snow deck. And that is something that is relatively hard to draft and not a kind of strategy I'm super into. So I'm just going to stick to black-white there and take the decent black-white 2-drop. We could also take the 1/1 that discards a card. I think that's pretty even there. So I do like Scorn Effigy in this strategy, just for helping you cast 2 spells in 1 turn. It makes it really easy, because you can foretell this for 2, and then later on when you cast this after it's been foretold, you're casting it for 0, so you don't have to hold any extra mana to immediately cast 2 spells with your Clarion Spirit or Furja or anything like that. That being said, there's also Spectral Steel, which can be solid if we end up incredibly aggressive, and it's good to throw this on a Deathnell Berserker, because then that Deathnell Berserker dies in creates a zombie, so Scorn Effigy or Spectral Steel here. I'm actually probably going to take Spectral Steel. While Scorn Effigy is quite solid in the strategy, they tend to go late very often, so we should be able to pick up plenty effigies, whereas Steel is an uncommon, so even if it's not very highly drafted, it's just a card we're going to see much less often. So let's see, we got 3 2-drops already. This one is an enchantment, so it's not really a 2-drop. So 2 2-drops and a 4-drop. Kind of like the Battershield Warrior for a very aggressive deck. Being able to boast this in the late game to pump up your whole field +1/+1 is quite nice. You're rarely boasting this the first time it attacks. That's one of the things you have to factor in when you're taking boast cards, is that you're not likely to be boasting them early in the game because you'd rather just be adding more to the board, just casting more spells. So you have to consider how powerful the boast abilities are in the late game, and this one's pretty solid, I think, so we're going to take that Battershield Warrior. It's also pretty cheap to trigger the boast, so it's fine for that as well. This is going to be a quite easy Stalwart Valkyrie here, I think. Wither Crown is fine removal, but it's not great removal in an aggressive deck, and we are looking to be an aggressive deck here. So it's not great in an aggressive deck because you're shutting off the creature's power, but your opponent gets to keep it out if they just take 1 a turn with it. But even, I guess you are damaging your opponent still, even in an aggro deck. That being said, I really like the Stalwart Valkyrie in the double spell deck. You often are playing an aggressive deck with a lot of low creatures like Death Knell Berserkers that are trading in the early game, so you can often cast this for 2 pretty quickly. Even if you can't, 4 mana for a 3/2 flyer is not bad, it's just not great. Now we have Koma's Faithful, Duskwielder, Carful Kennelmaster. Actually, all these black-white cards are mildly playable. I think I like Starnheim Courser the best. Just a 3 mana 2/2 flyer is pretty solid, and it helps cast like artifacts and enchantments for 1 less. So auras like Spectral Steel now only cost 1 mana, which is pretty cool. And if we get any Bound in Gold, that will be very good with Starnheim Courser, making that a 2 mana unconditional removal spell. A little bit of an argument for like one of the 1-drops just to help cast a 2-drop and a 1-drop on turn 3 to activate things like Clarion Spirit, but I don't think it's enough of an argument to take quite a bit of a weaker card out of that pack. This will be a pretty easy Story Seeker, I think. I think this is just one of the better 2-drops in the format. 2 mana for a 2/2 lifelink seems super solid. Pretty great for this deck. I definitely like it better than the Code Spell Cleric, just being a 1/1 and throwing a counter on something. Even if you're doing it for only 1 mana, it's just not that impressive. But it is a very cheap card to help you cast 2 spells in 1 turn. Goldmaw Champion is nowhere near as impressive as it looked to me when I first saw it, because it just reminded me of Territorial Hammerskull and Ixalan, but it turns out having to spend 2 mana to do that ability is real expensive. That being said, Valor of the Worthy and Dogged Pursuit aren't really what I'm in the market for. Dogged Pursuit, I'm probably just never going to run in this format. It's Ill-Gotten Inheritance, but you can't sacrifice it to dome your opponent for force. It's just like a way slower version. And Valor of the Worthy, I don't know about that. Just a 1 mana little aura thing there. That being said, we just get another Goldmaw Champion here, so maybe we would have preferred the little 1 mana aura. Plus, Spectral Steel does work better the more auras and equipment you have in your deck. Then you could potentially be recasting stuff with this in the late game, so that's solid. This Goldmaw Champion or like a Duskwielder or Wings of the Cosmos. Maybe I'm actually taking Duskwielder here over the Goldmaw, since we already have one of those and we want to have a real low curve for a black-white aggressive double spell deck. And Warhorn Blast is not unplayable in this strategy, just for going really wide and then giving the whole field +2/+1, plus you can foretell this, so you don't even have to cast it for that full 5. So that seems solid. And I do like these Scorn Effigies. I'll throw that in here to be able to foretell it on turn 2 to double spell pretty easily later. Raven Wings has been pretty solid for me lately, but that's mainly like rule decks where you end up with big creatures and not a lot of flyers in your main deck in the first place. Take another Scorn Effigy there. All right. Another Spectral Steel seems solid, but Poison the Cup is just fantastic. 3 mana to destroy a creature, or if you foretell it for 2, later you get to cast it for 2, destroy a creature, and scry 2. It's just fantastic removal. Just a really, really good removal spell. I don't expect Spectral Steel to get taken pretty highly, so we could probably wheel it pretty easily, and then just with double Spectral Steel, they kind of combo with each other if we ever draw 2 in one game, and we could be off to a really, really fancy, aggressive start. I'm very into this deck so far. If we don't wheel a Spectral Steel, Maybe we're just willing like a way down or something. That because we'll be trading creatures off early so often, we can pretty frequently cast this for cheap early, I feel. Definitely going to be a poison the cup there, though. We have another Story Seeker. I'm into that. Shimmerdrift Veil for the mana fixing. Play this as a white or black land. Raise the Draugr. It's always nice to have one of these in your deck for the late game. You're almost always going to end up with like 2 cards that share a type in your grave later. Like we could have Story Seeker and Goldmaw Champion in grave, then we're picking up 2 Dwarfs. If we have the Protector and the Story Seeker in grave, we're picking up 2 Clerics. Just little stuff like that. Raise the Draugr is not that hard to activate. Also Braggart, I do like this at the top end in the really aggressive decks. 4 mana for a 3/3, but with the Boast ability, it's essentially a 4/4 Vigilance the first time you do it, then a 5/5 Vigilance, and so on. Very impressive effect. Kind of think I'm just taking another Story Seeker, just keep this curve really great and really low. That could be debatable there, though. A lot of very solid picks to take out of that pack. I think here it's going to be Feed the Serpent, though. 4 mana for an instant to exile a creature or planeswalker. I really like this card. There are a few bombs in the format that it is really important to exile them instead of try to destroy them, like Coma, the World Serpent kind of thing, that can get indestructible, so you have to exile that to get rid of it, and just stuff like that that I've absolutely died to before. Plus, this can hit planeswalkers. Definitely died to planeswalkers before. I think I'm taking that, but there's certainly other solid cards for our deck. A Kaya's Onslaught to try to cheese out a victory. Throw this on like a 3-power creature. All of a sudden you're hitting for 8 instead of 3. Get that final bit of damage in. Or you can use it as a combat trick just to kill your opponent's blocker. Then another Story Seeker, solid 2-drop. Maybe one of these Valor of the Worthies just because we got Spectral Steel in here, but not so sure about that one. Beskir Shieldmate is a pretty great 2-drop. 2 mana for a 2/1. When it dies, spit out a 1/1 token, so you keep your field just as wide after you trade this off. You have just as many creatures on board. Draugr Recruiter, definitely a slow card for this kind of strategy, but if you can get it going, it will give you a lot of value. Don't really love that for this deck. I love having a lot of 2 mana cards to trigger the double spell stuff, but at this point we're not even really double spelling that much. We're just double spelling for Clarion Spirit, and everything else is just a basic Orzhov aggro build. Jarl of the Forgotten can be solid with a cheap aggressive deck, because then all of a sudden your 2/2 Story Seeker like attacks into their 5/5, and then you kill it anyway. But we do have a good amount of removal already, just straight up removal, so I think I'm taking another 2-drop. And I'll take another 2-drop. I mean, turn 4, just play 2 2-mana cards, get a bunch of stuff on the board, cast 2 spells in 1 turn if we get anything else that cares about that. This deck is looking solid aggro here. How many enchantments do I have? I'm trying to see if I left any non-creatures in the creature curve. I did not. So we just have Spectral Steel for enchantments, so I don't really like the Master Scald here. It's fine when you have Sagas, because with Sagas they are going to go to the graveyard naturally. And then you bring them back with that, which is solid. Kind of just want a Braggart here, I think. Maybe the Dusk Wielder, but I'm going to go with Braggart first. Dusk Wielders are often going very, very late in the packs. Much like the Squirrel Effigy, we can pick up as many as we want later. Kind of wanting a 3-drop over a 2-drop here, because now I have a giant stack at 2, but I guess that is kind of what you want when you're double spelling and when you're incredibly aggro. This is also a 3/1, so it trades with basically anything they try to block it with. But the lifelink is really solid when you're racing somebody. Yeah, I kind of have just a ton of 2-drops. I'll try out a Coma's Faithful. We might end up cutting it, but we'll see. And I'll definitely take another lifelinker out of this pack over the Code Spell Cleric pretty much as the only other playable. Could take the Snow Plains, but I don't have anything that cares about snow, and in an aggressive deck, I don't really foresee having anything that cares about snow at all. Kind of want to take the Battlefield Raptor. This card just works really well with Jarl of the Forsaken. It works really well with stuff like Spectral Steel, and it's a 1-mana spell to help us cast 2 spells in 1 turn. That being said, we don't have that much that really cares about that right now. Raise the Draugr. I love having at least one of these in my black decks, especially with a ton of creatures like we have right now, so I'm going to scoop up a Raise the Draugr there. Man, we can really curve out just tons of Story Seekers on 2. pretty much nobody's going to be able to race us. If we play against another aggro deck, we just have 4 2-mana 2/2 lifelinkers. It's just like nothing they can do. It's a really late Raven form. We're starting to get close to maybe wanting a Dogged Pursuit, but I don't think so still. I still don't think that's a thing I want to do. Final pack. What do we have here? Another Feed the Serpent. Seems like a really great pick one here. There's also an Iron Verdict, but Feed the Serpent just kills anything, and it also exiles it. Iron Verdict is only hitting tapped things. This is a lot better in like the white-blue Foretell deck, because then you're getting value from just having Foretold stuff. Plus, you're saving up mana for instance a lot more often in that kind of strategy. So being able to play this for only one is very relevant in there. Whereas here, I think we're just slapping 4 mana down to Feed the Serpent, kill their only blocker, and get in with our 2/2s again in this kind of build. What do we have here? Second Clarion Spirit. We have been really building around the double spell theme, so I think it's time for another Clarion Spirit. It's definitely better than the Doomscar Oracle, but Doomscar Oracle is fine. It does really help you double spell as well. Foretell this on turn 2, and then turn 3 cast Clarion Spirit and Doomscar Oracle in the same turn. Pretty solid stuff, but I'm definitely taking another Clarion Spirit. Ooh. Oh, somebody did take a Spectral Steel, actually, in the last pack, because we didn't wheel it. I'm just now realizing that definitely happened. So if we want this Spectral Steel, we kind of have to just take it now, but I'm starting to consider that we're not even really running auras. We're just running a million creatures at this point, because now I can just get another Stalwart Valkyrie that we can cast for 2 pretty often. I mean, now we have a million 2-mana cards trading off all the time. I think Valkyrie is very good in this deck. What do we have for removal now? We have Poison the Cup, 2 Feed the Serpent, and a Crippling Fear. I think we can run a way down in here. I have enough 2-drops. I don't really need to scoop up a Shieldmate here, and Golden Maw Champion's a little slow, but it does help poke in the final bit of damage. I think it's a solid card, but it might wheel here. We'll see. Taking a way down there. I don't have any runes, so Runeforged Champion's not really going to do anything for us, but it's very cute. It is a 3-mana 2/3. It's got real nice artwork. It's also the artwork on the picture for Premier Draft of the format, so I kind of want to take it just for that. It's also a rare for rare drafting, but we could have our 5th 2-mana 2/2 lifelinker or our first Wither Crown. Probably want our first Wither Crown over the 5th Story Seeker, as solid as it would be. There's a Rune of Sustenance. We take the Rune and maybe wheel the other thing. We've got so many playables now. We are very, very solid. We've got 31 playables. I already have to cut a ton of cards, so I think I'm okay to speculate with the Rune of Sustenance. Even if we don't wheel that other card, this could be fine. 2 mana to give something lifelink and draw a card. So it replaces itself and you're really racing. I guess the only problem with Rune of Sustenance in our deck is that we already have so much lifelink. You know, if we just have a Story Seeker or a Coma's Faithful out, it's going to be really awkward when we have Rune of Sustenance, because then we're just giving a lifelink or lifelink. Maybe somebody will scoop to the double lifelink, though. It's a very threatening ability overall. We're at pick 6 here. We don't really need anything else for this deck to look super solid. But what would I want here? If we get the white-black legendary creature, that'd be really cool. But I have not seen a lot of multicolored legends in general running around these packs, I feel. Maybe I've just been a little like blindered and zoned in on white-black. But I feel like I haven't seen a lot of multicolored stuff in general so far. So we have the Valor of the Worthy as that little aura that maybe works with the Spectral Steel, and it's a 1-drop. Throw it on like a lifelinker, then we got a 3/3 lifelinker. Or we have Wings of the Cosmos for the surprise trick. It surprises your opponent a lot of ways. It can give evasion out of nowhere. It can untap your thing out of nowhere. I don't know here. I'll try out the Wings of the Cosmos. I don't know. I'm not very likely to play either of them. But yeah, Wings of the Cosmos does a lot of stuff for your little 1-mana pump spell. I think I prefer a Death Knell Berserker rather than a second Dogged Pursuit. I'm already not very interested in playing the first. This is going to be an interesting deck to build. We've got a lot of ways we can go with it. We could honestly probably build a 40 card deck with nothing but 2-mana cards in it if we really wanted to. Don't really want the Iron Verdict. I think I have a solid amount of removal that's just better at this point. At least for this strategy. I think I'll take another Battlefield Raptor. We don't have any of the Jarls to go with it, but we've got like a Spectral Steel, and we've got reasons to be wanting to play a 1-drop. Alright, we did get double Spectral Steel this time around. Alright, that's pretty solid. Probably going to end up running both of those then. Raiders Carve. Probably not playing this. Maybe, though. Crew 3 to swing in with a 4/4. Look at the top card of your library. If it's land, put it on the battlefield tapped. I guess he gets lands out of the way. Solid for that. Grab another Scorn Effigy. Don't know how many I want to play, but having access to 3 is pretty cool. Alright, so this deck's going to be ridiculous. I'm just going to cut 3 lands right now, I think. So this is a 13 land deck. I accidentally cut a little more lands than I wanted to. That's a little bold. A 14 land deck, bam. I think we can go real low on the curve. Oh, wrong pile. Alright. I think we want to cut a lot of non-creatures here. Because we want cut a lot of creatures too. We got to cut 12 cards. But yeah, this is just slap your opponents and hope to kill them before they do anything. This is just a scary pile. That is for sure. I think I'm cutting wings. Rune of Sustenance, double Spectral Steel. That's maybe a little awkward. I think Crippling Fear is just super powerful, and Warhorn Blast can be quite good when we're going so wide to just end the game. Yeah, Crippling Fear, like, I guess it's a little weird in our deck because we're going to have so many creatures on the board a lot of the time. So we're not, like, saving... We're definitely not able to save all of our creatures with this, but we could still just, like, kill 1 or 2 of ours to kill all of theirs. Sometimes. I think it's definitely still worth playing. Obviously, anytime that we just be 3-for-1ing ourselves with it, we just won't cast it, but try to set ourselves up in a position to make it quite powerful. The Clarion Spirits do make me want a lot of 1-drops. I don't know about 4, though. Kind of like just the Battlefield Raptors, because I really like the idea of Spectral stealing up a Battlefield Raptor and just going to town, so maybe I take out the Dusk Wielders. With a deck with a curve this low, we aren't often wanting to boast in the early game, and by the time we get to the point in the game where we have the extra mana to keep dumping into this, even if it does only cost 1 to boast, by the time we're wanting to boast with this, it's just a 1/2 and it just never attacks in if they have a single creature on their board. But like, this is not the kind of deck that is ever boasting with that on turn 2 or 3 because we're just double spelling all over the place. We're just dumping our whole hand as quickly as possible. Okay. Deathnell Berserker works with our Spectral Steels. That's basically it. Rune of Sustenance does draw us a card. But the lifelink is not very impressive here because we already have tons of lifelink. Just life gain in general. We've also got a Doomscar Oracle gaining life. So we can foretell all that. We can foretell this. This is what I'm talking about where I'm saying I'm probably running like 14 lands here because we can foretell all this stuff and we can cast the Valkyries for 2 if something is traded off. Like, this deck just has a ridiculous curve. It's just a 2-mana deck. I hate this mouse. One of these days I'm going to get a replacement. One of these days. But that is an investment. Alright. Yeah, this is a stupid deck. This is a stupid deck. This is, like, we have access to so many powerful things and the ability to make such a powerful curve that if we just handed this pile to, like, one of the best limited deck builders in the world, they could probably make, like, an unbeatable 7-0 pile of this. But I am not one of the best limited deck builders in the world. I'm a decent drafter that has ended up with a really good pile and does not know how to refine it into a perfect deck. And that is an issue. You know, I could even... It seems dumb, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I could just cut all of my creatures that cost more than 2. I've got 24 creatures right now, so that'd be cutting 5 creatures. I still have 19. Bam. That's a curve, right? Double Spectral Steel is the kind of thing we'd want when we're casting everything on 2. Oh, dear. Probably do want a Warhorn Blast. We foretell it, and then we cast it on 3 for this pile to get in and just kill our opponent before they do anything. Definitely want the cheap removal like the Waydowns. The Feed the Serpents are a little bit of a harder sell because they do cost 4 in this deck, but they're still such a good removal spell, it's probably worth it. Poison the Cup we can cast for 2 if we foretell it, so I guess we could put that in the 2-drop slot again. I have to cut 4 more cards. Kind of want to cut a Rune. That's probably a mistake, but I like the Steals better because they're actually adding power to our board. I feel like with a deck that's this aggressive, while the Rune of Sustenance is drawing a card, so it's replacing itself, it's not actually adding any power to our board, and I think that we're really just trying to put as much power out as quickly as possible to just outrace anything. I don't think we actually care about the life link at all, or even the card draw. We're just trying to dump out our hand and hope that's enough. So we want everything that we're dumping out to, like, at least do more damage to our opponent, like something like Spectral Steel. I mean, I could see an argument for cutting Spectral Steels. We probably just, like, cut Spectral Steels and Raptors here, but I really want to cheese somebody out. Raise the Draugr seems like a fantastic late-game card for this deck. We've got, like, a bunch of random clerics, some angels, some berserkers, some warriors. I think I still want to run the Batter Shield Warrior though, because I have so many creatures and some stuff that goes wide, like the Clarion Spirits and the Shield Mate spitting out tokens. So I'm actually going to put a 3-mana creature back in here. Might be a little much. Might be a little expensive for this deck. That's the thing I'm doing. 4 cuts to go. I'm not cutting any more lands. 14's about as low as I want to go when I have some 4-drops that I want to cast. Double Feed and Crippling Fear. Maybe I'm cutting one of these Scorn Effigies, really. 3 more cards to cut. 19 creatures right now. I could end up cutting the Warhorn Blast, because the Batter Shield Warrior is a pretty similar effect, and I'm doing it multiple times if I've cleared my opponent's field of blockers in one way or the other, with Wither Crowns, Cups, Waydowns, that kind of stuff. I guess I could see cutting the Warhorn Blast. It is another one of those cards that, like, it's fun to cheese somebody out with it, but don't know how consistent it is. 2 more cuts to go. Or the 42 card special. That sounds like definitely not the thing you want to do. This is technically a 3 card, because we're foretell it for 2 and we still have to pay 3 to cast it afterwards. I mainly put everything in the 2-mana slot just as kind of a meme. I mean, these are 4-drops. These are 3-drops. Sometimes Oracle's a 3-drop. We're not actually just all 2s here. But we can be. It's the thought that counts. Is Raise the Draugr too slow for this deck? I don't feel like it. I feel like that can just, like, end the game at the end. That being said, like, Raise the Draugr is better the more high quality your creatures are, and our creatures aren't really, like, super high quality. They're just... there's just a lot of them. If you want to think about it that way. So... probably... this is a deck I really want to pay attention to and swap around based on how the games go, but for now... I really like throwing a +2/+2 onto a 2/2 lifelinker as well, so I want to keep all 4 of those for the Spectral Steel. I want to keep everything in here. It all looks just fun in a derpy kind of way. Maybe I'm cutting another Scorn Effigy, honestly. Because I can so consistently double spell just by casting 2 2-drops. We are down to 18 creatures now in a hyper aggro deck, but that's a lot. That's almost half our deck. Alright, let's get some beautiful lands in here and see how our mana base is looking. 17 white and 8 black. A lot of double black later. I guess just at 4 mana we have double blacks. Probably a 7/7 split. I could even see 8 white sources and 6 black sources. Because we don't always need to cast Feed the Serpent on like turn 4. That being said, it is a lot better when we do. But yeah, we do have so many white cards. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8-6 here. Might be getting real risky with the whole mana side of this deck, because we're also running not a lot of lands at all, but I do really like cutting lands sometimes when your deck is really aggressive like this. Because when a deck like this gets mana screwed, you're still dumping out creatures and putting pressure on your opponent, even if we only have 2 mana for most of the game. Whereas when we're getting flooded, we just lose every time, because we don't have high enough impact cards to do something like big if we have a ton of mana to make up for the fact that we've just got a ton of lands. Alright, well, let's head into round 1 with our white-black double spell deck and see how well it does. Let me check something here. Okay, just sorry about the clicky noises. I'm just double checking that my mic was on the right setting so I'm not blowing out all your eardrums. So it's about the same volume level as the other drafts I've been doing. Alright, here we are, round 1. Let's go. Exactly number 1000 right now, so no matter what happens here, we don't get to keep that ranking. Alright, this hand's great. Turn 2 Clarion Spirit, turn 3 Story Seeker Battlefield Raptor. Could even play Raptor turn 1, but it's probably worth the Spirit token to hold off, because it just gets in for 1 damage more than it would otherwise. I guess 2 damage more. Yeah, it's probably not worth it. I think the 1/1 Spirit token is going to be worth the 2 life I'm giving my opponent by holding off. Glorious Protector later is going to be fantastic. We've got all the mana we need to do that, because on turn 3, dump these out, and then the only thing we have left are... the only things we have left are... I don't know what I was saying. Sorry, I just randomly got a call for a video call I had to reject there. I should really put my phone on complete do not disturb mode during recordings, but I can't really justify it because my YouTube is just a hobby right now. Sometimes I do get important calls. Alright, well, a 1/3 does block stuff pretty well here. We're definitely not playing the Shield Mate against the 1/3. We're playing the Story Seeker and the Raptor here. Now we get to curve into just casting Glorious Protector next turn. We don't even need to, foretell it. And if I do foretell it, it's going to cost me 5 total, because I have to spend 2 to foretell and then 3 to cast. So we're just going to play a Swamp and probably send in with the Flyers, and then pass turn. And then if they cast any removal spells, Glorious Protector is going to be incredible. Because then if they ever kill it, everything that they tried to removal spell comes back. Very fun, very cool ability. To Scary Firewalker this turn, well, that makes me happy. No removal spells coming in. Crippling Fear. I have a Spirits, a Bird, a Dwarf Cleric, and a Spirit. So Crippling Fear pretty bad right now, but I could clear their whole board and keep both my Spirits. That's something to consider for later. But for now, we're not casting Crippling Fear, that is for sure. I think we send in the Story Keeper. That can trade off fine, and we just send in the Flyers, get in for 2 there. I don't think we're trying to trade our Clarion Spirit off just yet. There could be a bit of an argument for foretelling Glorious Protector, so that next turn I could maybe cast Shield Mate and Protector and get another 1/1 Flyer. But I kind of prefer just getting the 3/4 Flyer out, get it bashing my opponent as soon as possible here. They've got 3 mana up. There's some kind of heavily multicolored snow deck. They're blue, white, and red so far. Or red, white, and blue, I guess you could say. Jeskai deck over there. Got the shark sleeves. Just some pretty good sleeves. Voracious Great Shark is the artwork there. Dragonkin Berserker. I now have a bird. If I choose Spirits with Crippling Fear, I can kill everything but my... everything on their field and my bird. So I think that'll be fine. I guess they hit the 5th mana to boast that next turn, so... maybe there's that. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to exile my Battlefield Raptor, so if they ever kill my Glorious Protector, my Battlefield Raptor comes back to the board. Right? Since it's going to die to Crippling Fear anyway. And the Angel has 4 toughness, so the Angel won't die to Crippling Fear. Yeah, that just seems like a great play here. Get rid of the Battlefield Raptor. I want to do that. I want to exile Battlefield Raptor, and that's it. And then wipe all the non-spirits here. Attack first, I think. Attack first is for 1 more damage. Because the Angel is going to get -3/-3, but that's not going to be enough to kill it. Everything but spirits is going to get -3/-3 here. So that there goes their board, and we keep everything. And our Raptor is under our Protector, so if they kill our Protector, we get the Raptor back. Really solid line there. That was a cool little interaction there. And now we've wiped out their only card that was mildly threatening, because they could spend the 5 into it and put a 5/5 dragon out. They did have the 5th mana in hand to do that if we left it on the board there. We could have blocked it well, but then they still end up with a 5/5 flyer on the board, and that we absolutely cannot cannot deal with super well right now. I'm just going to take that. Sure, they want to get aggressive here. We'll just crack back with our Clarion Spirits. What do I want to put the Spectral Steel on? I could put it on attacker. I send in for 4, 5, 6. I send in for 8 if I put it on an attacker. I kind of want to just throw it on my Spirit token to spread out my threats as much as possible. They already want to kill the Clarion Spirit because it's spitting out more tokens every now and then. They already want to kill the Glorious Protector because it's my biggest attacker, so we'll just throw it on the token, spread out the threats. They're all in the flyers, and we've got lethal flying next turn. So if they don't have like a board wipe here, I just send in all my flyers. I guess 1 removal spell would save them. Then they only take 4 instead of 7. If I attack with everybody and they have 1 removal spell, I still win. But then my spirit's gone. I guess I probably should have just double spelled first to get the spirit token out of Clarion Spirit, and then I have free reign to attack with everybody here. That was a misplay on my part. I should have just double spelled and then spit out a spirit token. Because attacking with the Clarion Spirit here makes it so it is lethal even if they have a removal spell. Because they block 1 of the ground troops, kill that, and take 6. So they have 1 removal spell for that. Do they have a 2nd removal spell? That would do it. Nope, it is going to be lethal. Cool. So yeah, dropping my creatures actually main phase 1 of there would have been better against a double removal spell line from my opponent. Unfortunately for them, they did not have the 2nd squash. So there goes game 1. 1-0 for our quite aggressive white-black deck. I was going to say white-black double spell deck, but I guess we only have 3 cards that care about double spelling, so it's really just white-black hyper aggro. What do we have here from Jade First Wizard? We have a definite mulligan is what we have to start things off. We did cut down our lands a lot, so we expect to mulligan sometimes. Alright, I can cast some stuff here. I'm going to keep it, and I get to scry 2 off the Poison the Cup. So we're going to get rid of Wither Crown, I feel. Maybe should have gotten rid of Stalwart Valkyrie, but I think I'm dropping down like Berserker turn 2. Probably trading that off, and then Valkyrie will be pretty castable. Opponent is on black-red, starting with an Immersturm Raider. Immersturm Raider, not Immerstrum. Do I want to trade off with that, or just get a Poison the Cup Foretold? I actually really want to scry, so I think I'm going to foretell the Poison the Cup, so I know I can cast that later on their biggest creature, and scry 2. I really want to hit a white source. Yeah, I might even be Okay, well now I'm not. I was going to say I might even be stopping at my upkeep to destroy their 3/2 and scry and make sure I hit a white land, but if I just naturally draw it because I missed the opportunity, that's fine too. Well, a 2/1 that spits out a 1/1 when it dies is very good against them on this board, so we're just going to do that. Trade into their 3/2 and then get a 1/1 that can trade into their 2/1. Even if they have a removal spell for this, if it's not an exile-based removal spell, I can still get a 1/1 token to kill their 2/1 if that attacks. So this Beskir's Shieldmate just really, really trying to hold down the fort. Very solid blocker. Immersturm Predator. We need our exile-based removal or we just die to that card. This is a 4-mana 3/3 flyer, but whenever it becomes tapped, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it and exiles a card from a graveyard. It does not have to exile a card from a graveyard to get the counter on it. I learned that the hard way. And they can sacrifice another creature to give it indestructible till end of turn and tap it. So I can't even weigh down to kill it here, but I could weigh down and then poison the cup in response to them trying to give it indestructible. The reason I can't just weigh down to kill it is because they can respond by sacrificing Raider and it becomes tapped and indestructible. You can give an indestructible creature -X/-X and kill it that way, but it's getting a +1/+1 counter whenever it becomes tapped, I think. Yeah, whenever it becomes tapped. So it gets a +1/+1 counter, even if they sack a creature and tap it that way. It doesn't have to be by them attacking. So they sack the Raider, and then I just clear their whole board here by Poison the Cupping that. I think there's no way they don't sacrifice the Raider. Alright. I guess they read that I have a Poison the Cup then, which is fair. I guess we're dropping Death Knell Berserker. Clarion Spirit is not going to spit anything out here. Yeah, we'll just play a creature we'd rather trade off. And I don't think I'm attacking here, though. I'm still at 13, so I want to hold back a 1/1 to trade with their 2/1, even if they Frostbite my 2/2, or any form of removal. Maybe they didn't know that it gets the counter whenever it's tapped, even if they sack a creature. I don't know. That, or they did have the really solid hard read for the Poison the Cup there. You have to assume that I'm smart enough to know that my way down is not going to kill it, to think that I have a Poison the Cup foretold there. I guess I am Mythic, so you could assume, but I would never assume. If my opponent's name is Gauntlet X, I'm not going to assume that they're smart enough for a play like that. 3/1 coming in with Indestructible. Do I just take 3 and go to 10? I probably do. I don't love it, but I think I do. Because again, my 2/1s can just... Or my 1/1 can block with that any other turn. I think I probably have to poison that Kennel Master pretty soon. If I don't poison the Kennel Master, I just chump with a Berserker and I block the Raider with a 2/1. Probably just pass turn to hold up Poison the Cup. I guess that plays into them having a Village Rites. They could sacrifice it to draw 2. Yeah, let's just get it out of the way now. Try to hit a 4th land so I can Clarion Spirit and Valkyrie here. I don't really want to score an effigy, I think. Yeah, we can double spell Clarion Spirit and Valkyrie if one of my creatures dies. So I guess that's only if my Berserker dies. Probably not double spelling, but I can still just hard cast Valkyrie. Yeah, I think we're winning the land. Terragrid's Lantern. I could very well just die to that card. And that is, yeah, that's probably actually going to happen. So they tap it, and I lose 3 unless I sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. So I have to try to just... I have to try to double spell all over the place so I can just sacrifice spirits into that. I think that's the play. But there's also... Yeah, that's a brutal one. If that's the case, I don't think I just play my 3/2 here, but I can't double spell anyway. Do I even just hold this in my hand and foretell Doomscar Oracle so next turn I can Clarion Spirit and Oracle, get a Spirit token to sacrifice to that? I have to get aggressive to outrace that, and I'm at 10, so that's going to be really hard to do. Maybe I even just play the Clarion Spirit and Fertella card. I'm going to attack with Death Knell Berserker, at least get in for 2 here. If they trade, that works well for me. Alright. They don't take the trade. I figured they might, because my 1/1 holds that back. If they trade, I would be able to Valkyrie and Spirit here and just have a lot on this board. I guess I'm gaining life off the Oracle as well if I get that going. I can't... Wait a sec. Okay, I almost played really poorly. I can't actually cast Clarion Spirit and Oracle next turn off of only 3 mana because I need double white to do that, and I only have double black out. So foretelling the Oracle doesn't guarantee the double spell next turn, unless I play this land instead of just discarding it to the Lantern. So I guess I'm sacrificing my 1/1 to the Lantern? God, I really don't know. Lantern is just a really brutal, really brutal card. Let's... If I play the land, I know I can Spirit and Oracle next turn. If I foretell the Oracle, if I can't, then I don't know. I guess I can sacrifice the Berserker to double spell with Valkyrie next turn. Yeah, I'm actually going to play Oracle. Now next turn I can Clarion Spirit and Stalwart Valkyrie, then I gain 2 and make a token. Oh, good lord. I don't want to block with my Doomscar Oracle, so I'm probably discarding Batter Shield Warrior or taking 3 this time. I'm going to take 3 first. But my next turn plan is definitely Valkyrie plus Clarion Spirit. And then probably sacrifice Berserker. I was expecting them to untap there. So now I don't double spell with Valkyrie by not sacrificing Berserker. But I can send it in here still. Kind of want to double spell pre-combat so I can send in the Oracle as well. So we play Clarion Spirit and Battlefield Raptor to get another token out to sacrifice. I'm always confused every time I have emotes on. Now I'm up to 9. We definitely send these 2 in. These can both trade. Losing the Oracle would hurt not gaining life anymore, but I still need to like out-aggro my opponent, and now instead of trying to just gain 2 life every turn to stop the Lantern, I'm trying to just sacrifice spirits every turn to stop the Lantern. Just sack my 1/1. I've got a 1/2 First Striker now to stop the Immerstrom Raider. They've got enough mana to untap that thing once. I guess they'd rather play a Raider's Carve, so they have a 4/4 to block with. Spectral Steel. I can play the Steel and the Valkyrie. Steel on the Flyer for sure. Let's double spell here. I could even steal on the Berserker, and then when I sacrifice the Berserker, if I sacrifice the Berserker later, I spit out another creature. I'm thinking I'm wanting to get in for as much damage as possible, though. I guess I don't attack with any of my ground creatures if I don't give 1+2/+2. So if I attack with Death Knell Berserker with this thing on it, then I trade with the Carve and I get a 2/2 out, and then I can attack with my ground creatures again into a 2 toughness creature. I don't know what's actually better, to just get in the sky for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a turn, or to trade this off and actually get in on the ground. It's probably better to get in the sky. I may even be discarding a Battle Shield Warrior at some point. I'm going to start taking some damage, though, that's for sure. I go down to 6 now. Can afford to take a little bit more. I'm really only in range of like some random fireball type spell. I don't think there's a lot of those in this format. 7th land from our opponent. Opponent's got a solid deck. Immersturm Predator and Terragrid's Lantern here. I'm just hoping that Clarion Spirit is enough to solidly outrace that Lantern, giving us enough permanents to sacrifice. I don't think I'm taking damage again at 6. I don't want to go down to 3, because there is Provoke the Trolls, 4 mana for an instant to do 3 to any target. And there's also Basalt Ravager, comes into play and deals damage equal to the highest number of creatures that share a type when it comes out, so there is some real scary stuff. Alright, exile our thingamabob. Spectral Steel does go into the grave, so if we hit a second one, we can recast it at some point. Now we're hitting for 5 a turn in the sky. They go to 7. Not very likely to cast 2 spells in 1 turn again here, so if they attack with Carve, do I double block? Probably not. I probably have to keep as many things on this board as possible. But at the same time, I can't just take it. That's just a certainty. I really don't want to chump block. Actually, can I just take it and then crack back? Because now they just use the Lantern. I go to 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? I hit them for 9 on the crackback. I really can't take it, I don't think. Battle Shield Warrior is going to be my blocker next turn. You know, I kind of still am only dead to, like, if they top deck a Provoke the Trolls if I take this, and I get to really get in. I suppose if I'm sacrificing 1/1 Spirits to stop 3 damage from Terragrid's Lantern, I should be sacrificing 1/1 Spirits to stop 4 damage from Raider's Carve. I don't know what happened with my brain there, but yeah, I'm literally just stopping 4 damage by doing that, and I'm going to hold on to the Swamp to stop the 3 damage there. I think we're going to chump block with the Spirit here. They don't have any blockers on the ground, so we get to send in these 3. If they draw a Snow Mana, they get to give the Draugr Menace, which is real threatening. I guess if they draw another creature, this could go real bad for me. Because then they get to crew that and give that Menace and do the Lantern thing, but I could still survive that with another blocker coming down with the Battle Shield Warrior. And there's the scoop. Alright. Must just be another land or something. That was a scary game, facing down an Immersturm Predator and then a Terragrid's Lantern. So we're going to start this draft off 2-0 so far. And hopefully we can keep up that momentum with this very, very aggressive Orzhov deck. I really like Clarion Spirit. Maybe I like Clarion Spirit too much. I actually got a comment that was like... It's about how I should have taken a red card in an earlier draft to stay more open, but I just really highly value Clarion Spirit. I think that card is ridiculous. So we've got 2 wins. It's going to take 5 more wins to make it to a 7 win. I don't know if we can get there with this, but I think this deck is very solid. The first pack worked out incredibly well for us. We actually just had a solid baseline for a deck very quickly in this draft. To the point where at the end of the draft we got to cut, what, like 12 cards? Really just play around with it, mold it whatever way we wanted to shape it. Alright, here we go. Round 3. Beskir Shieldmate on turn 2 with a Spectral Steel to throw on it. We really need to hit a black source and I'm on the play, so if it takes some time that will hurt. Being said, I can just throw a Spectral Steel on a Shieldmate and start going to town and hoping for the best. Crippling Fear, if we ever hit that later, is a ridiculous card. If we hit a black source immediately, we can even throw a Spectral Steel onto a Berserker, which is absolutely fantastic. Kind of feel like I have to mulligan, but I really don't want to. should not have mulliganed. Arena's being real rude to me there. I think we do that, put Feed the Serpent on top there. Should have kept the first hand, but hindsight is always 20/20. It was a very risky keep regardless. Start out with the 2/2 lifelinker because we're not double spelling unless I draw a 1-drop, and if I do draw a 1-drop, I need to draw land as well. I only have 2 lands, so not double spelling anytime soon. I guess I get to just double Story Seeker out here. If my opponent's just aggro, then this will be a good matchup, but otherwise, mulliganing twice on the play is often going to just kill us, but it looks like our opponent kept a risky keep as well. Battershield Warrior is going to be fantastic here with our 2/2 drops turn 2. Really curving out. Maybe our opponent is the one who should have mulliganed when we should not have. So far, things are looking absolutely fantastic. I think I'd rather just bash in for 3 more damage than double spell here, actually. Yeah, because it puts him to 5, absolutely. Now I'm actually going to Death Knell Berserker rather than Spirit, and they scoop him up. Going to Death Knell Berserker there, that way if they were just playing blockers, I could attack in and boast, and then Death Knell Berserker's like a 3/3, so if it dies, I get a zombie. And if they do something to like wipe the board or something, I'm hoping to just draw another 2-drop, of which our deck has 1,000,000. And if I do drop another 2-drop, I can still play Clarion Spirit followed up with a 2-drop to recommit to the board. So 3-0 so far. That was a really, I think every game has been pretty scary, and all in a different way. That one was really scary because of the potential mana issues after the mulligan, but unfortunately our opponent did have it worse than us. Or I guess you could say fortunately if you're objectively on my side, but if you're on the side of wanting to see as many interesting back and forth games of Magic as possible, then yeah, it was unfortunate. Our opponent cast nothing all game. We are in the strategy, in the kind of deck that is made to punish slow starts, though, so that is definitely one of the ways we're going to win. We've had slower decks, like our Blue-Red Giants deck, where our opponent could absolutely wait a few more turns to hit their 3rd land drop and potentially come back, but this is just not one of those decks, apparently, even when we have to mulligan a bunch. This is actually an awkward hand. I really don't like not curving out in this deck, but I have good removal. I have both of my colors. I have a 3-drop creature. I don't think I can mulligan this, and I'm on the draw, I think, which makes it more likely I can draw into a 2-drop, so that I have something to just put on this board turn 2. The second swamp isn't bad either. Now we know we can feed the Serpent later. Our opponent is on Boros, starting off with a Story Seeker. In an aggressive deck like this, I'm actually kind of wanting to just turn that off right now. Just get your lifelink out of here. Maybe I even get to convert this into life loss, if they choose to just keep it on the board for a bit. Alright. Just Doomblade the 2/2 lifelinker there. Turn 3, what do we see? Gold Maw Champion, a 2/3 with a decent boast ability. I've got double Spectral Steel coming up. I think I'm playing Battershield Warrior this turn, so my turn 4 can be a Clarion Spirit with a Spectral Steel onto my Battershield Warrior, so I'm spitting out a Spirit token, and I am attacking in with a 4/4 against their 2/3. Definitely can't block a 2/3 with our 2/2. They only have 3 cards in hand now, since they have hit every land up to 4. A Battershield Warrior it is. Alright, well a 4/4 Battleshield Warrior is going to attack into a 2/2 Battershield Warrior, so we will drop Clarion Spirit and drop Spectral Shield. If they have a Frostbite, this will suck. Looks like no Frostbite to kill the Warrior in response, which means our board is now very good. It is going to be hard to double spell again, because Valkyrie is going to cost the full 4 unless they somehow kill our Battershield Warrior, and we don't want them to kill our Battershield Warrior, so we're actually hoping not to double spell next turn. That being said, if they kill the Clarion Spirit, we could also double spell, but we also don't want to lose that, so... And that's the only thing that cares about us double spelling anyway. I'm fine just taking 2 a turn here. We're going to be doing more on the crackback than they are on their attacks. 5th land for them leads into a Dwarven Hammer, very threatening artifact. Death Knell Berserker means we get the double spell here. Spit out another 1/1 spirit. The 1/1 spirits are quite good at blocking their dwarf tokens. But the Batter Shield Warrior will get to boast, so their stuff has all at least 2 toughness. Can't attack in either, so I guess I'm trying to start attacking in with some flyers. What am I Spectral Stealing? I can attack in if I Spectral Steal on Batter Shield Warrior, then I can just attack in with a 6/6 Batter Shield Warrior, and they have to double block to kill it or they take 6. That's probably better than guaranteed getting 3 in the sky. Yeah, that's kind of hilarious. Maybe it's not better, but it's hilarious, so I'm gonna do it anyway. Probably not the right choice. Probably not the right choice. So now if they get a 2nd white, then they can use the champion. Oh yeah, definitely not the right choice if they have a Bounded Gold. They can send in with the champion and the Batter Shield Warrior, give all their creatures +1/+1, and tap something down. If they can't use both of those abilities, I don't think they have good attacks because of my Berserker. And now because of my Shield Mate. Still can't double spell. I guess I'm just trying to get him in the sky, so we'll just play a 3/2 flyer, right? Maybe hold up a Feed the Serpent to be really safe. I am just really scared of them drawing another Plains. Shieldmate would be the more defensive, less risky play. I like having the 1/1s back to just trade off with that, but even just trading with these 2s is fine. Yeah, we're at the point we can trade off our Clarion Spirit here, because we're going to get in for 2 here, put them to 7. Does this actually speed up the clock if I hit them for 2 instead of 1? If I get to kill Valkyrie, or if I get to keep Valkyrie, I do 2, they're at 7. Next turn I do 5, they're at 2. And then I do 5 again, they're at 0. Whereas if I do 1, they're at 9. And the next turn I do 5. It's going to be a 3-turn clock either way. So I'm just going to send in 1. That way, if they don't send in with the Batter Shield Warrior and Boast to give everything +1/+1, I get to just trade my 1/1 for their 5/1. So we're really hoping they don't get the 2nd white, because with the 2nd white, okay, with the 2nd white, they get to both tap down one of our creatures and give their whole field +1/+1 on attacks here. That being said, they basically have to be lethal or they die, though. So they actually probably can't even attack here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm at 16, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have a lethal crackback. They have to be sure that they can kill me off this attack, or that they have a defensive removal spell, which I think if they had it, they would have played it already. They definitely would have played the Plains already if they had that. So that makes me feel they don't have an instant speed removal spell in their hand. So if they do attack with just everything, I think I take it and crack back for lethal. That does die to the double strike instant, though. I could see a world in which they had the double strike instant and they didn't play it yet. This is 12 damage as is. If they have the double strike instant, I kind of die no matter what, because they double strike up their 5/1. And it's a 6-power double striker with trample. So like, what... If I'm blocking here, what am I doing, really? I just do that, and I do that. What happens if they double strike spell? They double strike that, and I take 5, 10, 11, 12, because it'd be getting +1 from that. 13, 14, 15? I guess I survive even if they have the double strike spell if I block this way. I can afford to do this and play it safe because I have like Feed the Serpent here. And this kills both of these creatures. I just need to kill the Goldmaw champion and their board's just gone. So if they have nothing here, obviously this is worse than just not blocking because I just kill them if I don't block. But I'm going to play around them having something because if they have nothing, Even if I'm not killing them immediately the next turn... Oh, I forgot that it's getting +1 toughness. That was dumb. I should have put the Berserker there, which was the old plan. Anyways, if they don't have anything here, I already just went... So yeah, Bound in Gold would have really gotten me if I blocked nothing. But yeah, I probably still win this game. That was really dumb of me, forgetting that it was going to get another toughness there. Probably just attack for 3 and then kill the hammered up creature with Feed the Serpent. Yeah, that was very boneheaded. I was literally saying, like, the turn before that Berserker just blocks the 6-2 even if they boast it. But the general sentiment behind the block still stands. Of just blocking the way to try to kill both of the 2 of the creatures off the board, and then I just feed the Serpent the last one, and I'm super safe. That being said, now I am kind of not safe because of the fact that I didn't throw Berserker on their 5-2. So they actually still have a creature on the board. Alright, well with Clarion Spirit I just win. With Clarion Spirit I think I'm just good. They don't immediately have the removal for this. I now get to double spell with the Shieldmate. So I have multiple blockers, even if they tap something down with the Goldmaw Champion, they need a pump spell as well. I am giving them way more opportunities to draw into like a +1/+1 double strike pump spell than I should though. Oh, they're gonna Demon Bolt that one. Okay, well, I will still get a 1/1, but I don't get 2 1/1s now, which is rough. So they can tap down my Beskier Shieldmate, and then I block the Goldmaw Champion with my 2/2 and my 1/1 to kill that off the board. Or I just take it if I don't think they have a pump spell. They're just not going to attack. A Lifelinker is a great draw here. If I attack with everybody, they go to 1, and I lose a creature. Yeah, they go to 1, and then they're dead in 1 more turn, but the problem is that dies to a pump spell, because then they just tap down my 1 blocker. So I don't love attacking with everybody here. I think I just attack with the Flyers and play the Lifelinker. Play it nice and safe. Definitely made some punts this game, but the deck was certainly strong enough to make up for it here. I think that'll send us into 4-0 at this point. Or just 3-0 only. It's kind of a long game. Well, that is 4-0. Alright, well I'm happy with anything now. I say that, but I wouldn't be. I do always try to win as many games as possible, make as good of a deck as possible, so I would like to make it up to that 7-win run. Let's see if we can get there, but I am happy with the rewards now, no matter what. I'll be getting at least the 1,400 gems out of it, and it only costs 1,500 to play, so I'm only down 100 gems, and I get to keep all the cards for my collection. So we're solidly just getting value here, regardless of the outcome of the next few games. Yeah, this deck is pretty much just operating how I felt it would. It's just going to be fun, just curving out and dropping double spells and playing a bunch of small creatures, removing their early game blockers and hoping to kill them before anything crazy happens. It's mostly what's happening here. I'm very gaseous today. You've probably heard some burpy sounds, and I apologize for that. Alright, yeah, this hand is super solid. Both of our colors, Crippling Fear later, can be really impressive. I have the double white to double spell with Clarion Spirit on turn 3, so we'll do that. Again, we're basically letting them gain 2 life to spit on another 1/1 flyer, but in general, that 1/1 flyer is going to be worth the 2 life that they'll get. So we did draw another Plains, which is a bit awkward, because it doesn't actually help us cast anything. We just need another swamp to cast stuff. So that is kind of like just a bonus land. Spirit and a Battlefield Raptor. It's kind of weird how it drags the token along with it. It's like, wait, we don't get a token yet. I mean, we do now, but it's weird that it's like I'm playing 2 cards at once there. Opponent starts with a longboat with nothing to crew it yet. Hopefully nothing for a while. Well, there's the Vault Robber. To crew that longboat, oh, they're just going in. They're just going in. They're not blocking. Bold plays. I like it. I'm into that. And Frostbite on the Spirit, sure. Yeah, so they cannot crew the longboat now. So we know that we're just getting in with everything. I've got a Spectral Steel to get some more power down here. They're on mono red so far. They could have like a Demon Bolt, but I'd rather Spectral Steel. I'm definitely stealing one of the flyers. Question's which one. I guess it doesn't really matter unless they have flyers of their own. Because either one that I steal is going to be out of range of a Frostbite, but still in range of a Demon Bolt. So I don't think it really matters. I'll throw it on the token. I'll throw it on the token just in case the first strike on a blocker becomes relevant if they are going to throw removal at one of my flyers, which is what I would expect. That being said, if they don't have removal anytime soon, then throwing the first strike on the Raptor is probably a bit better, because then I could alternatively use it as a first strike blocker. Hitting them for 4 in the sky a turn, so they're on a 3-turn clock here if they don't get defense against flyers. They're going to be quite a while from using the Slumber Mound, but the Slumber Mound will really hurt if they get to it, because they get to destroy my 1 black source when I'm holding a double black card in hand. So yeah, getting a treasure token off these despoils and a treasure token off the Vault Robber means that Slumber Mound is actually very close to happening. So they hold the Vault Robber back, so I can't attack in with the Bestier Shieldmate. I actually can't attack in with anything because of that longboat. Anything on the ground, that is. I still get to send in with the flyers for the 3-turn clock. So we will do that. You know, actually throwing Spectral Steel onto the battlefield Raptor would also make my Raptor a 4 toughness creature, which is relevant for the Crippling Fear. That means it would survive a Crippling Fear no matter what creature type I choose. It would just be a 0/1 until end of turn. Yeah, so they're just ramping into the Slumber Mound to kill my swamp. But if they don't deal with the flyers, that doesn't actually do anything. They're still dead in 2 turns. I will just cast nothing but white cards this game. I've been doing it so far, and I've been just fine, opponent. They have the 6 mana to sacrifice the Slumber Mound, make a 4/4 and destroy a land. So I would not be surprised if that's the play here. They also only have 2 blockers on the ground, so I get to send in with all 3 of my ground blockers. If they're making a 4/4 here, they can block with a 3/3 and a 4/4. Sure, they kill 2 of my things, but I sneak in 2 more damage there and put them to 2 life, which potentially speeds up the clock. I mean, the clock is 2 turns regardless, but if I ever need to punch in that extra ground damage, I can, if they're making a Troll Warrior here. They're probably heavily debating whether they want to blow up my swamp and make a 4/4 or play like multiple blockers. Ooh, Rootless You. Alright, well that's not multiple blockers, and now I have a Poison the Cup as well. Could even kill one of their ground blockers. If I kill one of their ground blockers, right, they've got 1 blocker. But they can crew their vehicle in response to me trying to kill their blocker. So if they try to crew the longboat here, I just win. But if they don't, this is a terrible attack. I'm playing all in, trying to get them to crew the longboat here. Alright, well, our ground creatures weren't doing a lot for us anyway, so this is just a little sad. I do get to blow up something if I still want to. Blow up the Rootless You, and I keep everything but my Shieldmate, and then I still have just as many ground attackers. I actually am hitting them for 6 here. So they go to 2 life. They go to 2 life, and then I keep 3 creatures that can attack on the ground if I shoot the Rootless You. They do draw a card off of it, though. A creature with power toughness 6 or greater. Trying to decide if I'd rather hold Poison the Cup in case they get a reach creature. They're going to 2. Keep everything but Shieldmate, and Shieldmate just spits out a token anyway. Oh, I literally can't. I don't have double black. Yeah, that was a that was a silly attack. So this is definitely another one of those drafts that just shows that if you end up drafting a good enough deck, the deck can absolutely carry you. That is my general draft strategy most of the time. I feel like I'm a pretty good drafter, but when it comes to gameplay, boy, you can do a lot better than me. Punt number 2. That was not a bad punt, though. It sneaks in 2 extra damage because they only have 2 blockers. So that's an attack that I might have even made knowing that I couldn't cast Poison the Cup. So that's actually not the worst punt ever. We just snuck in 2 extra damage. So now if they can kill Battlefield Raptor but not the Spirit Token, we still kill them. So there's still like a point to that attack, like it's fine. Send in the Rootless U? Sure. No blocks. I should definitely have noticed, though, that I've not been able to cast Crippling Fear all game because I don't have double black. Looks like they didn't get anything to deal with flyers anyway here, so that should be game. Now we got a Spectral Steel too. That doesn't even play around anything. The only thing they could have is the 1 red mana instant to do 2 damage to something that doesn't kill this, so I don't want to really just dump that out here for fun. I guess I could, but that just seems a little rude. So we're at 5-0 with this super, super solid white-black double spell aggro deck. Actually, mono-white that game. I don't think I cast a black spell. So just white weenies. Just white weenies in Kaldheim Limited. 5-0. Alright, now that we're at 5-0, I'm at the point where it's like, okay, 7-win run, let's go. Let's do another 7-win run here. I'm all in. I believe in this deck. I absolutely believe in this deck. I don't know about 7-0, but 7 wins? Oh yeah, let's go. Let's go, Orzhov aggro. Let's do some great things. You and me, we were destined. It's like the white-black life gain decks in the Tinkerer's Cube. Some pretty good runs with those. Alright. I guess you could say it's more like the mono-red decks in the Tinkerer's Cube, because those are the decks that I would draft a whole lot, and I'd cut a bunch of lands. So we're on the play. We absolutely love being on the play in an aggressive deck, and this hand is sweet. We got a Glorious Protector later. If we draw a second white, we can just hard cast that. Otherwise, we can just foretell it for the late game. In the early game, we get to drop our Shieldmate turn 2. Depending on what we draw, we might just drop another creature turn 2 if we draw into 1. But otherwise, throwing a Spectral Steel onto the Shieldmate is a little awkward since it only has 3 toughness, even with a steel on it. But it still attacks in real aggressively. And drawing a Story Seeker against a red deck, kind of want to try sending in a 4/4 lifelink every turn with Spectral Steel. At the very least, it will really annoy them. Oh yeah, if they just foretell this turn. That being said, I think I'd rather go wide than big on one creature here. Just yet. We can cast the steel later. Alright, 3 mana for opponent. They're foretelling another card. They're holding up a red now, which means that they could have the 2 damage shock spell, which makes me very, very wary of casting a Spectral Steel now. So I kind of want to just cast Glorious Protector now. And maybe they'll even try to shock something and I Glorious Protector to save it here. I mean, it doesn't save it, but keeps it for later. Yeah, that's fantastic. So now if they kill my Glorious Protector, I get back the Story Seeker, instead of it just being gone forever. This card is really nice. That was kind of crazy to get that pick too. I'm guessing my whoever was on the right probably took like a Poison the Cup or something, some kind of real solid uncommon. There are a lot of solid uncommons in the set though. There's a lot of great sagas and stuff. So they've now had to use a removal spell and give me back a creature there, so really solid card advantage out of that play by still keeping a creature around, even though they blew up my thing. Now, I think we are going to Spectral Steel on one of these. I'm worried about, a little worried about another Demon Bolt, but a Demon Bolt would kill it anyway. They do have a Foretold card and a red mana up, so they might just be Demon Bolt.deck. I think we still Spectral Steel pre-combat, because if they don't have a third Demon Bolt, then we actually get in here. Or a Frostbite. They could have a first Frostbite. Yeah. Irritating deck from our opponent, but I think we're still in a real solid position just from the value that the rare got us there. The Glorious Protector. We're going to leave it in our graveyard. We're going to be respectful to it. And I do think I have a joggers thing. I don't know if I put it in here. I actually ended up cutting it because I thought it might be a bit slow for this build. But now I want it because my rare's in the grave. Seize the spoils. Opponent is going to draw some cards and get a treasure token. Doesn't put any creatures on the board, so I think we're still solidly racing here. I don't have a second aura to bring back the steel. I just have 2 steals in this deck to ever bring them back. So we send in probably a Demon Bolt. Yep, our opponent just drafted nothing but removal spells. We will eventually win if all they have is removal spells. Because they need something to block at some point. Sixth land with a treasure token. They might be a bit flooded here. Poison Cup is a real great draw. Now, on their first creature, I can kill it and scry 2. So any more lands that I'm hitting, I'm throwing on the bottom, and that's essentially drawing a card every time I throw a land on bottom because of how badly we don't need lands here. Yeah, so black-red removal was really open in my opponent's draft. Multiple copies of some premium removal spells, triple Demon Bolt, and a Feed the Serpent there. Bloodline Pretender, we are definitely poisoning that, and scrying 2 here so we can keep getting in with Story Seeker. One of the nice things about all the lifelink on the Story Seekers is, even if they get into a position where they can start being on the aggressive, I get to survive quite a while just by being at like 30 now. So Clarion Spirit, its ability is unlikely to be relevant here, but it's another creature on the board, and that's all we need. They're down to 8. We just need 2 2s for 2. I Feed the Serpent, their first blocker. Hit for 4. Ooh, 1 mana from double spelling here, which would be cool, but we're just going to exile Arnie. Hit for 4. They need a creature next turn or they're dead. Opponent's deck does look very solid. Nice little Berserker tribal deck. Bloodline Pretender for Berserkers, and then they hit an Arnie. Arnie's a very fun rare. Yeah, solid deck from our opponent, but definitely an awkward draw from them. Just the mono removal. Mono removal into creatures definitely too late. 6 wins and no losses for white-black double spell with only 14 lands in here. The beautiful super aggressive curve. With all of our Foretell cards, we can cast almost everything in the entire deck with only 2 lands. Obviously, we're trying to double spell, so ideally we hit like 3 lands so we can play 2 mana spells in a 1-drop. But this deck has just been absolute gas. If I get another 7-0 run here, that's actually insane, because I was having a really bad time. I'm not going to lie. I was having a very bad time with this format at the start. It was, like, I was at like a 50-50 win rate, but it was constantly like the best I would do is a 4-3. So I'd like 4-3 once, and then after the 4-3, it's like a 1-3, and then 3-3-3-3-3-3, you know? It's where like just nothing exciting was happening. But today's batch recording has been fantastic. If you've seen the last draft video, you'll know however that one went. It went well, that's all I'm going to say. And then this one has just been incredible so far. We'll see if we can convert this into a 7-0 victory. That would be absolutely bonkers. So I like our start here. Depending on what our opponent has, Story Seeker with a Spectral Steel on it can be great. If they play a Mountain, I'm scared. Because then they can Frostbite in response to Spectral Steel and 2-for-1 me. That is the biggest downside of the Spectral Steel. We are hoping for no Frostbite from our opponent. If they just tap out to foretell a card, we are off the ground running here. Or if they tap out for a 1-3, that works too. That absolutely works too. And now Crippling Fear is active, because we've got the 4 mana for it. So we could try to multiple for 1 our opponent later in the game. Just wipe their whole board. Just choose probably Clerics. They've already got a Dwarf out, so I can't choose Dwarves right now. But we'll see. Crippling Fear could be incredible, but we may not even need that. Looks like this game we're the mono removal deck, but we've presented a 4-4 lifelinker before we're going to start doing a bunch of removal. Kind of like even just wiping their board immediately here because of the fact that I have 2 removal spells right after this. I'm actually pretty safe to just do that. Plus, with only 14 lands in the deck, I'm definitely less likely to get flooded than most decks, so hopefully we can just hit some non-lands after this. I like the Crippling Fear here. Next turn, we foretell a Poison the Cup. So Crippling Fear on Clerics will wipe their whole board and not give me any minuses. Definitely don't want to do it on Dwarves. That is just definitely not a thing. So I could have held that to maybe clear more of their stuff out, but with Poison the Cup and Feed the Serpent out, I'm worried about them potentially playing like 4 toughness creatures since they're green-red. They could be a really top-heavy kind of deck. So I'd rather have these around to deal with those than try to get like the 2-for-1 off of them. Masked Vandal is going to be awkward here because it's not big enough for me to want to kill it immediately, but they are at 12. And I could poison it and cast a Story Seeker. Then I don't get any scries. I think it hurts not scrying, but we are the kind of deck that we're just getting in as fast as possible. Doing everything we can to push in that damage here at this point of the game. They're down to 10 now. Essica's Chariot. That's probably the worst card they could have for me, spinning out 2 2/2s to just trade off with my 2/2s. I'm going to drop a Story Seeker, but we can't attack in. I could have attacked in with both. I guess I could probably wait to Story Seeker till main phase 2, but I don't think I'm attacking with both, because the only way that works well for me is if they crew the Chariot. And I feel they're just as likely to just choose to trade off with the cats than try to crew the Chariot. What does this even do? Whenever it attacks, create a token that's a copy. So they get another cat whenever that attacks. I probably should have held up Feed the Serpent for that then, rather than dumping out a Story Seeker. Back at it again with the misplays during the gameplay. Fearless Pup. Okay. But actually, if they attack with the Chariot, I can trade it for 2 Story Seekers. Just not worry about it anymore. They didn't attack with the Chariot. I'm a big fan of that. So now they can kill 2 of my Story Seekers, but Pup can't kill 1, so I'm actually getting in for at least 2 here, even if they go for just the triple block. If they crew the Chariot, we're just going to kill the Chariot, and then we get in for like 4 damage. That's pretty great. Definitely going to have full control just in case. I'm not sure it'll give me the opportunity otherwise. It should. Alright, goodbye, Chariot. So they can chump block with Fearless Pup and take 4 here. If they have the Hexproof spell, I'm just dead. Okay, they don't have the Hexproof spell, and that is pretty awesome. Could have given a +1/+1 counter and Hexproof. That would have blown up really badly in my face. They'd like 3-for-1 me there or something, because they're countering my removal spell, killing one of my creatures, and keeping their thing out, so it would have been really, really bad. A pass turn. I'll hold on to a swamp. We'll be scary about it. They're down to 6, and I'm up at 34, so while I have the life total advantage, my opponent definitely has the card advantage. They still get to keep their 2/2 cats from the Chariot, so they've got blockers for our Story Seekers. We're not able to get in anytime soon. We're needing to draw into some of our flyers for sure. Struggle for Skemfar to kill one of our 2/2s, sure. I'm very happy with them just using removal on the creatures we have now. That makes it so our flyers are more likely to be able to get in later if I draw them. They're less likely to just get eaten up by a removal spell the more removal spells they use. And they're only 2 hits away from dying to one of our 3-power flyers. I think we have 3 of them. 2 of the common Valkyrie and 1 of the rare. Land is not any of that, though. Play the plains, sure. And then we're passing turn because we can't attack into the 3/3. I've still got time. Any of my 3-power flyers is a 2-turn clock. And it looks like they are just going to keep throwing removal at my clerics. So they probably... I mean, at the very least, they're much less likely to have removal left for the flyers. Clarion Spirit. I'm going to hold off on that, because even a 1/1 flyer puts a little bit of a clock on our opponent. Things are starting to look really bad for us. The Arnie slays the troll, gains them life equal to their biggest creature on the third part of this, so they're going to gain 3 life on the final part. And they're on a 3-turn clock to our 3 power flyers. There's a mob that can start shooting my my 1/1 flying tokens, so now holding onto the Clarion Spirit didn't really do anything. Alright. They've got 1 card for Told. They're on a 3-turn clock to get killed by our Valkyrie. They attack in and kill our 1/1 flying token. Or they're on a 4-turn... Yeah, they have a 5-power creature now. Never mind, I'm pretty sure we're out of it then. It's a 4-turn clock. They still have removal. Struggle, Arnie, struggle. Yeah. I was getting excited by them spending the removal on our dorky little 2/2 lifelinkers, especially when they had like a 3/3 on the board, to where they could still attack in against just the 1. Again, I feel like this is really overkill, and it's leaving them dead to potential flying threats later. But I mean, at this point, it's too late. But way down. Kill one of the things, take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 from the ability. I do survive a turn, killing the pup. I'll get rid of one of our many story seekers here. So obviously, using the crippling fear so soon, it did cost us the game, but it's the kind of play with no information about my opponent's deck that I would probably still be okay with doing again. Obviously, if we had it left when they got the cat tokens, that would have been huge, to be able to just clear out those cat tokens alongside everything else. It would have been absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, I guess I should have just went in for the attack there, and went in for like the 2-for-1 with the combat trick of killing a creature when they try to double block. But then if they didn't block there, I probably would have ended up using the sorcery anyway. Rough game overall. Definitely could have gone differently had we just held on to the crippling fear. But after that point, our opponent just had like all of the gas in the world. With all those fight spells and some real big stuff, the nice Esca's Chariot, to have to throw the removal spell at a vehicle to punch in for extra damage. That definitely hurts a lot. With the Esca's Chariot coming with 2 2/2s when it comes into play, and it's a 4-mana vehicle, it's like they didn't lose any value at all by me using the removal spell on the vehicle. Because it's like, okay, they still got 2 2/2s for 4 mana, which was very good on that board. Chariot was pretty huge there. It's definitely the deciding card. Card of the game was either Chariot from our opponent, definitely just ruining everything for us, giving us the multiple blockers and really winning the game for our opponent, or the Crippling Blight on our side, casting it at the wrong time, costing us the game. Either way you want to look at it. Those were the most important cards of that game, and here we have a real good start. We've got the Glorious Protector. I haven't lost a game with the Glorious Protector yet. Have I? Did I have Glorious Protector that last one? I don't think I did. So, hopefully, Glorious Protector can take me all the way to victory here. Only need one more win. We've got 2 more chances to do it. Facing up against the Big Fred. So, as much as I like gaining 4 life a turn, probably going to throw Spectral Steel onto the Death Knell Berserker, so that if/when Berserker dies, I'm still getting a 2/2 back out of it. I'm going to play to play just as aggressively as possible, rather than defensively at all. Uh-oh. Okay, 2/2. Perfectly fine then. That means we actually get to drop down a Spectral Steel here. I'm actually just going to start with that. Next turn we get to cast Story Seeker and foretell the Glorious Protector, or just cast the Glorious Protector. Really don't want to end up using the Glorious Protector to exile our Death Knell Berserker, because Death Knell Berserker triggers when it dies, so we want them to kill it with removal. Another Spectral Steel? Maybe I just play Story Seeker and Spectral Steel it, because I don't need to foretell Protector now. I've got 4 mana up. Sure. While they're tapped out, I'll throw Spectral Steel on this so it can't die to a Frostbite. And we'll gain 4 if we're blocking. We'll see how racing works out for our opponent. Hopefully the 4/4 Lifelinker makes it not. Is these Share type? Yeah, they are both Berserkers, so Kinseekers is a 3/5 blocker. Well, now we're just getting in the sky, I think. If I attack with both of these, how do they block? They can double block with a 3/5 and a 2/2, and I can only kill one of them, and I can't kill the 3/5. If I attack with both, they only get to kill one of my creatures. So they kill the Story Seeker, right? Because the Death Knell Berserker spits out a 2/2 when it dies. They don't have the mana to pump Broken Bow right now. Do I even really want to attack here? I guess getting the Spectral Steels in the grave is value if I get both of them in the grave. I attack with Death Knell Berserker and I kill their 2/2 Cavalry and spit out a zombie, get a Spectral Steel in grave. Still don't love it. I'm just going to play a flyer. Hold on to that land for fun. They're on a 4-turn clock from the Valkyrie. Glorious Protector obviously will speed that up if that survives. I'm playing the Valkyrie first, that way if they don't immediately kill that, I could actually protect something with my Glorious Protector. Okay, they do immediately kill it. Fair enough. They can't really attack into my board, so I'm still pretty able to just send in the Glorious Protector and hold things back. I guess I can foretell Protector for fun. Is there a reason to do that? If I foretell the Protector, it only costs 3 to do. So I can't do Protector and Scavenger here, though, or Berserker here. Probably I'm just dropping down Protector rather than Berserker. I will just pass the turn and Protector in their end step. I guess if they have Disdainful Stroke, I'd rather play the Protector right now. What could they have at sorcery speed that would kill Protector? A Demon Bolt can kill Protector, but that's an instant. So I can play around a counterspell here, or I can just dump this thing out. They seem like just a big red kind of deck, like big blue-red stuff. So hopefully not the kind of deck that's running counters, really. Like Disdainful Strokes, I'll just pass turn. And hope they just tap out for some stuff. That way I can get around like a Demon Bolt at least. Ooh, they're just going in hard. Kind of like all my creatures dying here. Because then I can recast Spectral Steel from my grave. I can recast one of them from my grave. And I'm getting a 2/2 zombie out of this trade too. This seems fine. They can break through the board this way, but overall it's fine. I'm definitely not exiling my stuff that's got auras on it that are both going to kill one of their creatures right now. There's my 2/2 zombie. A land and Scary Firewalker. They're still holding 2 up for a Disdainful Stroke. Oh, thank goodness. Oh my god, I was actually getting really scared there that they were just randomly running Disdainful Stroke. Disdainful Stroke is like, it's super fine, it's super playable, because it does counter like bomby stuff. And now we can get out of range of a Demon Bolt from our opponent, so they need a very good removal spell to kill this. They need like Raven Form specifically. Even if they Raven Form, we're getting a 1/1 flyer out of this, and then we start hitting them with a flyer for 1 a turn. Feeling pretty good. Our opponent does have an actual board against us to try to race us, but it's not going to be fast enough if they can't also kill Protector. Definitely trading with Firewalker here. They're boasting, looking for the removal. Demon Bolt, but that is not going to do enough to protect her unless they have 2 of them. If that Foretold card is Demon Bolt, I swear. Double Demon Bolt on Protector. Oh my god. I have had like 10 Demon Bolts cast against me today. It's actually insane. I don't have the black for the Feed the Serpent yet, but if I get it, I can clear out their Kinseekers, and then I'm attacking with my 2/2s. Guess I could have held on to one of these to maybe double spell if I draw into a Clarion Spirit or something. Really just need the black source to clear this board a bit. 3/5 gets to send in freely. It's going to take some time to kill us, so we'll just take it. Dwarven Reinforcements. That is atrociously bad for me. That 1 card makes 2 cards that trade with both of my things. This is the one problem with the Hyper Aggro decks. Or this is like the main problem with the Hyper Aggro decks, is your opponent can play late game cards that cost a lot of mana but dump out multiple creatures. Those are the cards we really don't want to see. Cards like Essica's Chariot and Dwarven Reinforcements that all of a sudden trade with 2 of our cards at the cost of 1 of theirs. Oh, if you want to go in all out, just go in all out. Go for it. I got a 2/2 lifelinker here. I'm going to hit you for 4 now. Surprise. Well, we had a chance there because they went all out. We get to hit for 4 here, and then if we draw like a flyer, maybe just kill him next turn, but I'm taking 7 on the crackback. I just lifelink here. I have to hold back Berserker now because I just hit another land. This is why you cut a lot of lands from the aggro decks. You just have another burn spell too? That would be brutal. They have a squash as well. God, there's so much fantastic removal in red. I feel like I'm playing against the same like red-black deck I played against, where they just have a million removal spells, and I'm just dead because I don't life gain. Red seems really good in this format, just because of all the common removal. Alright, well, I do have one final chance towards the 7-win run. Should I change this deck a little bit to be a little more resilient in the late game? Honestly, I don't feel like it. Would I just take like a Raise the Draugr? Yeah, I could see throwing in 1 Raise the Draugr and cutting... I guess the Spectral Steels have not worked out super well, but I also just have a ton of like 2-mana 2/2, so I throw in 1 Raise the Draugr, cut one of my Story Seekers, maybe? Maybe one of the Death Knell Berserkers, because the only thing they combo with are the Steels to spit out a token. Yeah, I could cut a Death Knell Berserker, throw a Story Seeker in. Now we've got a Raise the Draugr for the late game that can pick up like our rare, pick up multiple flyers, which is important. Picking up multiple angels would be really, really good. I guess Warhorn Blast would have been decent in a lot of these games. Haven't drawn the Scorn Effigy once, but it hasn't seemed like the kind of thing I'd be really wanting to do that often. Maybe cut a Scorn Effigy for just another flyer like the Starnheim Courser. Or a Goldmaw Champion or an Axgard Braggart. That being said, I'd be cutting a card for a card that I'm just not... haven't seen yet anyway, so I don't even know if it would be doing good in this deck. I think I'm definitely not playing a Rune of Sustenance still. Just not the card for this build. Dogged Pursuit would have chipped off the final few damage a couple times, I guess. It still seems just probably not great. Like, probably just another flyer is better than that. I'm going to cut Scorn Effigy and throw in a Starnheim Courser. So we'll do a little bit of adjustments to the deck before the very last round, the final boss, and hopefully, this final round works out. Now I'm really nervous, because this is the last chance to get a 7-win out of this one. Six wins and 2 losses heading into the final boss with white-black double spell aggro. So what do we want here? Ideally, We want to be on the play and have both of our colors of mana, at least 2 lands in the hand. I think that's honestly pretty much all I'm asking for. Pretty much all I'm asking for, and I think we could be able to do a really solid start off of just having that. I guess being on the play is kind of a lot to ask for. All right. What do we have here? Final round. We are on the play with only one of our colors, but turn 1 Raptor, turn 2 Story Seeker, turn 3 Valkyrie. After one of these trades off, I guess turn 2 Shieldmate's an option as well if our opponent plays a creature. I'm gonna keep it, but this Feed the Serpent is likely to get stranded in our hand for quite a while, and we have to respect that. Our opponent is... This is kind of like we mulligan to 6, and this is our 6-card hand. Like, imagine mulliganing to 6, and then you see these 6 cards. Would you keep this hand? Absolutely. So I'm just going to keep the 7. Because then, in any position where we do end up drawing 2 swamps throughout this game, it's better than if we had, like, mold to 6. Opponent starts with a mountain. They can very well just frostbite the raptor immediately, but they start with a fearless pup. We get another battlefield raptor. Well, that is a little weird here. I don't think I'm doing that right now. I like dropping the Story Seeker against the fearless pup. The best gear Shieldmate's a terrible blocker against a first striker. First strike away the Shieldmate, then first strike away the 1/1 and never lose the pup. The Story Seeker, they have to have some kind of pump spell to do it. Well, we really want to draw a black source by the time they hit 5 mana to kill that Dragonkin Berserker. And they're both first striking attackers, so I could play Battlefield Raptor and just hold them off from attacking back at me. I can double block the Berserker with Raptors, and I lose 1 Raptor and kill their Berserker. If they attack with Berserker, though, Story Seeker gets to send in. Best Gear Shieldmate really does nothing on this board, though. But it does give me a creature that goes to the grave for my way down. I don't know, I'm going to play a Raptor and not send in. We are looking for a black source, and we're looking to lose a creature so I can kill Dragonkin Berserker before they hit the 5 mana to boast out dragons every turn. That would be very, very bad if it happens, and we would definitely just lose. Oh god, now I need to hit double black. Oh, just gonna get bombed out here. Guess I'm foretelling a Doomscar Oracle. Now we're attacking with a Raptor. I don't know if we're attacking... Oh wait, it's got reach. That would be awful. Arachnoform also gives reach. So there is that. They're 1 turn away from dragons, so I pretty much think we just lose. Because I'm 2 turns away from a swamp minimum. And Dragonkin Berserker is the kind of card you just have to have the removal to kill it or you lose the game. It's just a dumb bomb in that sense. Pretty classic kind of bomb. How did they do that for only 4? Oh, Arachnoform gives it all creature types, so it costs 1 less because they control a dragon. I'm honestly over it. We're dead already. Next turn they get another 5/5 flyer. They've just got 10. Well, brutal way to lose the game. Brutal, brutal way. Honestly, if they didn't have just an absolute bomb rare that needs to be killed immediately or kills you, my hand didn't even end up that bad. I still had several plays to try to make and some attackers there. Like if we're trading stuff off, like we just did, we lost our like 1/2, or we could have lost our 1/2, and then we bring back a 3/2 flyer out for only 2 mana. I don't know. That was just a brutal, brutal loss. Another one of those just... I don't know. Some people have been saying that they feel like this deck has less just I win bombs, but... Or this set has less I win bombs, but I have definitely experienced some. Several times. Like that Dragonkin Berserker in that game. Remove it or you die. And my draft with White-Blue Foretell, I think that will just go down in history for me as one of my saddest drafts ever, because I think that deck was super solid, but all 3 times I lost to just actually insane, nearly unbeatable bombs. Like, one round I lost to Coma, the Mythic Rare Serpent, that spits out 3/3s every game, and then the 2 other rounds I lost were to Cosmos Elixir and the Giant Board Wipe, both, each time. So it got the double bombed there. So I think this deck was really, really solid, and it absolutely could have got the 7 wins, but the cards were just not in the stars for us. Had some mana issues, but that'll happen when you cut down on the lands. Even then, like, even for how few lands we were running, we had some pretty bad mana issues for having equal amounts of each mana there. So, a little sad, those losses. I don't feel like all of them were 100% earned. I think we could have got 7 wins there, but at the start of this video, I wasn't even really feeling the deck. I wasn't sure if it could make it to 7 wins, but after the like 5-0 start, I was like, oh yeah, this deck could totally make it. Just didn't quite get there. Either way, a 6-win run is pretty fantastic, and that is going to end this video. We got a pretty sick rare out of the final pack, Toski, Bearer of Secrets. Really fun card to play with in draft. Pretty ridiculous card. It's kind of one of those really hard to beat bombs too, but with that one, you have to give it some support. You have to make sure that your field goes wider than your opponent's to be able to keep drawing cards off of it. Anyways, as always at the end of the video, I would like to thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more of this, stick around right where you're at, and I'll be back again with more Magic Arena content tomorrow. So I'll see you all then.